Hi everyone! In this tutorial I'm showing you how to make the cute and lovable Paddington Bear. I'm using Saracino modelling paste for this tutorial and I'm using their gel colours to create the different colours. So starting with the golden brown shape, I've used brown, orange and a small amount of yellow to create that colour. Then I've taken a small piece, mixed it with some white and I've created a paler version. Then I've just used red, blue and brown, and then I've got a lighter version of the brown also, a little bit of black and a little bit of white. I'm using lolly sticks for support, a couple of modelling tools, a knife, a water brush and some scissors. Starting with the golden brown, I'm splitting it into two equal sections, taking a small amount off the one which will be used later to make the paws. The rest of this section will be making the body. Splitting the other amount into two sections, I'm using the one for the head and the other one to make the legs. Taking the leg sections, I'm rolling each one into a thick sausage. I'm making sure they're both equal in size, and then I'm modelling each leg by rolling it between my fingers and then just modelling out the bottom paw. Just thinning out each one slightly and making sure they're the same height. I'm taking a lolly stick, splitting it into two sections and then just inserting one into each leg, just supporting the leg as I insert that in. Now to texture the legs, I'm using the small scissors and I'm just snipping into the paste, and as I snip in I'm just pulling the paste up a little bit as well, and this will create the lovely fur texture effect. Now that the legs are done, I'm just going to model out the body. So rolling it between my hands and forming an oval shape, flattening it slightly and keeping the top narrow, I'm just inserting it over the lolly sticks. And then just keep making sure that the sides are narrow as well. Rolling out the blue paste, I'm just going to make sure that it fits around the body. And then I'm just going to measure the actual height of it. And then cut the piece to make sure it fits exactly. Trimming down the ends so that they overlap neatly, and then just measuring it, making sure it all fits, and then adding some water. So I'm just placing that around the body and making sure it's all nice and smooth and fits neatly. I'm just going to trim off the excess, make sure it's a nice straight line, and then I'm going to mark a second line for the seam. Using some of the cut-offs, I'm just cutting a couple of strips for the pockets. So I'm just checking them against the body, making sure that they're a nice fit. And as they're a little bit too long, I'm trimming a slight amount off the end. Then I'm just going to fold the top of each pocket. Using a little water, I'm attaching those onto the front of the jacket. I'm now going to make the little fasteners for the front of the jacket. I'm taking the light brown paste, I'm just going to roll it into a sausage. So a thin sausage, and then I'm going to cut 3 pieces from that. With each piece I'm just forming a little loop, and then the loops will just attach to the front of the jacket with a little bit of water. Now to make the little buttons, I'm just rolling 3 balls, rolling them into a little oval shape, making sure they're all the same size, and then I'm going to stick those onto the top of the loops with a little bit of water. Moving on to the head, I've rolled a ball, flattened it slightly, and I'll attach it to the body using a piece of lolly stick. I'm being very careful to insert it, and holding the body firmly, I've just twisted it into it. So placing the head on, making sure it's secure, I'm just going to start the texturing. So back to the scissors, and then just using the same texturing technique that I've used on the legs. Taking a small piece of the paler colour, I'm going to form a little muzzle. So I'm just shaping it between my hands, making the top of the muzzle slightly narrower than the base. Then placing that on, and then just texturing that to match the head. I'm making 2 eye sockets using the bulbous cone tool, and then rolling a little bit of the dark brown paste. I'm making 2 balls and making sure that they're both the same size. I'm just inserting those into the sockets. And then I'm just going to make the pupils. So another 2 balls, a lot smaller than the first 2, and just making sure they're equal in size also. And then as I lift them, I'm just going to flatten them slightly with my finger and then place those on. And taking a slightly larger ball, using the black again, I'm going to form the shape of the nose. So what I'm trying to do is create a triangle shape, and then I'll place that on with a little water towards the top of the muzzle. Then to shape the mouth, just using the thin side of the Dresden tool and to make a nice little curve. And then taking a little bit of the black paste and rolling a thin sausage, I'm going to measure the mouth and place the black inside, and then just trim it at the end. So just tidying up the muzzle where I flattened it with my fingers. I'm now making a little eyelid, so using the brown paste again, just going to make 2 small sausages, place them over the top of the eyes, and then I'm going to texture them with the scissors just so they match the rest of the face. Taking a really tiny amount of white, I'm making 2 little tiny white dots. I'm going to attach these to the top of the eyes, and this creates the little catch lights. Taking some more of the blue modelling paste, I'm modelling out the arms. So just rolling them into little short sausages, making sure that they are in proportion with the body. I'm just chopping off the ends, making sure they're nice and neat, and then I'm going to hollow them out with the bulbous cone tool. Taking some of the golden brown paste again, I'm just going to roll 2 little paws. So they're sort of a cone shape, and I'm just making sure that they sit inside the arms. Once they're in and they're the right size, I'm just texturing them again to match the rest of the body. Just to give them some shape, I'm rolling them in the centre of the arm and then adding some little marks with the Dresden tool. This will create the creases for the elbows. Then just chopping off some of the top of the arm at an angle. This will fit nice and snugly next to the body. So using a little bit of water, I'm just placing those on and then just checking the size. So just placing something behind to give it some support. I'm now going to start working on the hood. I'm using the blue paste and just flattening it between my hands. Then I'm just going to pinch the edges slightly, just to thin it out. And then also just stretch it out to each side, just so it'll actually go round the back and round to the sides. So I can keep adjusting it slightly until I'm happy with it. And then just to form the actual hood, I'm folding over each end, making sure I've got that hood shape. Just to trim down neatly at the ends, and then I'm just going to attach it with a little water and then just make sure the ends are nice and neat before I finish. Moving on to the hat. So I've got 2 balls of paste. I'm rolling out the one piece. It's not too thin. And then I'm taking a small cutter and just cutting out a disc. So then I need to cut out a centre as well. So I'm using a buttercream nozzle for that. Then with the other piece, I'm just going to form the top of the hat. So I'm modelling it between my thumbs, hollowing out the bottom, adding a little bit more shape to the top. And once I'm happy with it, I will attach that to the top of the head with some water. And then just push it down slightly, make sure it's actually secure. Then with the rim, I'm placing that over the top. Now I need to make sure it sticks to the hat, and then I'm just lifting the front up slightly and giving it a little bit of an upturn, using a bit of water here and there where I need to. To make the suitcase, I'm just rolling a thick piece of the brown paste, and then I just need to cut a rectangle shape using a sharp knife and make sure it's nice and neat at the bottom. Now with a smoother, I'm just going to flatten that. Just make sure it's nice and even, and then squeezing the sides together slightly, and I should have a nice shape. So just checking it against the actual bear, just to make sure it reaches the top of his hand. Just going to take a small piece of brown, so this is a lighter brown now, and I'm rolling a sausage, rolling over it, and then cutting a nice neat strip. So I'm just making sure the ends are nice and tidy as well. Now to attach it, I'm just going to use a little bit of water on the top of the case. And then lifting the thin strip of paste and shaping it into a handle shape, I'm just going to place it on top and then mark a little hole in each side. Now that fits nice and snug under the hand, and that's Paddington Bear all completed.